All right, welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since our last update. Today is October 24th, and let's take a look at what's going on in the herb and mild to semi-hot pepper hydroponic system. So we've got some flowers going. Here's one, there's another one hiding down there on the sweet peppers, those midgety peppers that I've got. We've also got the jalapeno here, has got a flower going back there. I've been just kind of wiggling my finger around in there. But some interesting stuff. It seems like they did fine with the different nutrient regimens that I've been putting on them, with the increased EC and the lowered calcium nitrate. Some of these new leaves being a little crinkly like this may be a sign that they're not getting quite enough calcium. But I want to talk about the main concern that I had with the little experiment we did. What I found is that fairly quickly the solution in the reservoir dropped significantly in pH, dropped a little bit in EC as well, and the water level fell a bit too. And what that apparently is saying is that I may have over EC'd these plants. I'm going to monitor the pH, but I'm not going to change out the res yet. I'm going to wait for a full month like I usually do before switching out res waters. And hopefully they do fine in that period. They seem to have been doing fine. I have been using some pH up, which I rarely have to use, but I have been using some pH up to keep this at normal pH levels until 2 weeks from now, when I'll do a full reservoir water change, because this big 27-gallon one is a pain in the butt to do res changes on. Also, the plants have gotten big enough that they kept falling over, and so what I did is I've got some wire here kind of using each other as a trellis. I did that this morning. I will, I guess, see how that works out. When the fan comes on, I have actually put a fan on a timer. It runs for 15 minutes every 2 hours, only during the day. And that's just to encourage pollination of these flowers, so that if I kind of miss some with my finger, that they'll still self-pollinate, because the wind will help with that. But yeah, it was knocking the plants over. The other thing that we discussed last time I was here is we had some bug issues going on. You can see this sticky pad here. There are a few fungus gnats on it. This has been here 3 or 4 days, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fungus gnats, and just a couple other things that have fallen off plants. So they are down here. They're not down here in big numbers. So what I did is I bought pyrethrum spray, which is a kind of healthy, safe insect repellent sort of product. It's a garden safe brand. And I did spray all of the plants down here and their root systems with that a couple days ago. My plan is to, every 3 days, repeat that process. And I'll probably end up doing that for 4 or 5 applications, just to make sure I really get everybody. The other thing that happened is, you can kind of see it. I left it here for the purposes of the video, but you see that those little black balls on the top of the reservoir? I saw those, and it was right underneath a leaf. The leaf is now gone, obviously, where it had some munching going on. And sure enough, I flip over a leaf next to it, and there's a caterpillar hanging out. So somehow a caterpillar got down here, even though this is in a basement room and whatnot, but I guess they're aggressive in their migration. So I did go ahead and get rid of that caterpillar. That was before the pyrethrum spray. I'm hoping that also solves any other caterpillars that might be in here, because I looked, I could not find any, nor evidence of them munching, but that doesn't mean that they're not around. So hopefully that solves that problem. All right, the other update that I want to give is with the herbs. So we had talked about how some of my herbs had been getting a little dark and crispy around the edges. This is the holy basil doing so. If we look at the bush basil, who has been historically one of our stronger plants in this system. It's also got that going on, and it's kind of across the board. So it's not doing so hot right now. So I don't now think that it was the root rot that was causing this, because we're seeing it on multiple plants. The parsley's doing it in some places. The cinnamon basil's doing it in some places. The sage has continued to do it. The purple basil, I've been using it, so it looks really small right now. But the purple basil's actually been doing pretty good on that front. It's not really purple everywhere, but apparently that can be caused by a number of different things. So I'm not really concerned, but they don't look very lively. What I'm starting to think, and what will be the experiment that I do in the next month with the herbs, since it is their week to have reservoir changes, is I think I'm overfeeding them. So I'm actually going to back down on the amount of fertilizer, the concentration that I've been giving them. I'll come back after I've mixed it up and tell you what my numbers are. But what I'm probably aiming for is, my water is usually about 0.3, 0.4. I'll measure that out. So the number I'm about to give you is after taking out that number from the water. So let's say it's 0.4. What I'm actually going to look for this month for these two reservoirs is a EC of about 1.1. So kind of on the lower end. So if my water's 0.3, we'll end up with like 1.4. But the actual nutrient amount that I'm looking for this month is going to be about 1.1. So just kind of feed them a little less and see if that helps with what I'm now assuming is tip burn.